right, welcome back to another episode of D2D Success Stories. Here today with my good friend Jake Richards. Welcome, bro.
Thanks, man. I always wanted to be on the show.
Yeah, long time coming. So me and you work together, spoiler alert, but I will do the intro and then we'll kind of go back to the beginning for your story. So one of only 2 double golden door winners ever in Windows.
Right.
And then you've also won it 2 other times aside from that. So
Yes.
4 golden doors in 3 years.
That's right.
We were talking before, something like 9 million closed all time.
Pretty much on the dot.
Yeah, that's awesome. And now running pretty much the biggest window office in the country. So, one of the goats of D2D Windows.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
It's good to hear.
Yeah. No, it's factual.
I mean, it's been a lot of years, but yeah.
Yeah, factual. So with that kind of as the intro, dude, let's just go back to the beginning. So tell us a little bit about, where you were born, where you grew up, that type of stuff, family.
Yeah, so I was born in Salt Lake City.
Nice.
Super far.
Yeah.
LDS hospital, the whole thing. And I'm an only child.
Okay.
And then my parents moved me down to Phoenix
Okay.
when I was 4.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty much from there. I'm from Arizona.
Yeah, from Arizona.
Yeah, so all school years, I went to school in Arizona. I did no school, and preschool to graduation was all in Phoenix.
Understood.
Gilbert,
Specifically. How's
specifically.
being an only child?
I don't know what it's like to not be.
Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah.
Yes. So people are like, were you lonely? It's like, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, compared to having siblings, I'm sure I was.
Yeah.
But I got really good at being on my own
Yeah.
because, the older I got, my parents felt less and less inclined to, not they didn't like me.
Yeah.
I had good parents, but
Yeah.
I had to kind of entertain myself.
Yeah. They're not just like entertaining Jake or whatever.
Yeah, as a child, maybe, as a toddler, but eventually when I'm a high school kid, it's like, go hang out with your friends or something.
Yeah, you play independently. Do you think it makes you more friend oriented than other kids maybe sometimes?
Yeah.
I was pretty like friend oriented. I had siblings, but I was the middle child and the other 2 are sisters.
Because you get sibling roles from people that you're not siblings with.
Yeah.
So I have a ton of people in my life that I could call brothers
Uh-huh.
and stuff like that filled the role.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have pretty close friends probably because I didn't have siblings.
Makes sense.
Where if I had siblings, it would just be them.
Right.
So I never felt lonely
Yeah.
because I had people that I feel like were the same.
Yeah, that makes sense. So tell us about school, dude. Were you studious, like sports? What were the vibes?
Yeah, I liked learning. So I really liked learning stuff, and I was a pretty good test taker. So I had good grades.
Yeah.
Most of my life was sports though.
Yeah.
So early on, I played 16 years of baseball. I've played 8 years of basketball, 6 years of football, and 1 year of soccer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I sucked at soccer.
Same.
I didn't have fun at soccer.
Soccer's a good one. Soccer's a good one for little kids to do because the year that they begin, it's already real soccer. Like that is what a soccer game looks like. You
Yes.
kick the ball towards it. Whereas the first year of little kid basketball is not basketball.
No.
That sucks.
Yeah, and T-ball too.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
literally you put the ball on a stick.
Yeah,
instead
that's
of
not
throwing the
baseball.
ball. No, it's not baseball.
Yeah,
It's called a different thing. It's called
Yeah,
T-ball.
yeah. So I actually kind of prefer my kids don't play soccer because I don't vibe with it, but I'm down with 5-year-old soccer and 7-year-old soccer.
I think it's fun to watch too.
Yeah.
It's little Hunger Games.
Right. Yeah.
It's kind of violent.
Yeah.
I was a goalie. Yeah, I didn't like it. But yeah, sports was, up until I went on my mission was pretty much what ran my life.
Yeah.
So I played on high school teams and club teams for baseball my whole life. Mm-hmm. So I played 16 years of baseball, but I don't know how many seasons that was.
Right.
Because you play winter seasons, off seasons, and regular seasons with your school.
Summer.
I have
travel tournaments.
And, 20, 30 seasons probably of baseball.
Right.
My club team fed the Orioles and the Nationals. So, it was a pretty legit club, but
Yeah.
I went on a mission after that. So I didn't even pursue that further, which is fine. I had my time.
Yeah, makes sense. So you graduate high school. Well, let me back up. Did you know what you wanted to do when you grew up?
I had ideas. I always liked, just like any other kid, you like something.
Yeah.
And then that's the thing you want to do for professionally.
Yeah.
It's I like movies a lot.
Uh-huh.
So I was like, I want to be a director. I want to make movies.
Filmmaker.
Yeah,
and stuff.
filmmaker. I want to make films. And and then you grow up, and then there's like 100 job positions in a movie.
Yeah.
And once you read the credits, you're like, ooh.
Which one?
I don't know which one I want to do, or
You're,
maybe director.
You're a bit younger than me, dude. Like you're from the age where like kids knew how to do cool stuff on phones.
I didn't have a smartphone until senior year.
Oh, really?
My parents never gave me a phone.
Yeah.
I was grounded.
Yeah.
So I was given a smartphone. Of my 4 years of high school, I had a smartphone for one.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't get one until after my mission.
I had a dumb one so that they could pick me up from practice and stuff.
Yeah.
I never had one.
Yeah, you like. I mean, still though, you grew up around technology.
Yeah, I mean, I had a childhood without one.
Yeah.
Because they didn't have I was 6 in 2004. So I mean, I was sentient.
Yeah.
When there was no tech, they had the flip phones, and that was like the extent of it.
Right.
But then most of my junior high, college, and it was like tons of tech.
There was stuff.
Yes,
Right.
tons of stuff.
Yeah, makes sense.
I feel like I've had both. Mostly technology though. Not like now. Kids come out burnt, dude.
What was it? What was it that drew you to the movies though? Like, were you into like the photography, or were you like a kid who made like freaking YouTube videos and stuff?
No, I never wanted to be like a content creator. I suppose in this day and age, it could be used for networking. So I'm like, it might be cool to like share my thoughts on stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know if people would even care.
Yeah.
But the idea, I liked movies mostly because I love stories. So I liked characters. I liked character development. I liked types of stories. So there's like redemption stories where the character is like comes up and above, and I like.
No, I'm with you on
I
that.
like that kind of stuff. And then if you can pause a movie and it looks really pretty, love that.
I need to get you to watch some of the shows I've watched, because I actually feel like I'm like that. Yeah. But we haven't watched the same shows.
I haven't watched a lot of the shows you told me to watch.
Yeah, I know. We'll work on that one. So, all right. So, aside from like kind of kid ideas, nothing super developed for here's what I want to do when I grow up.
No. I mean, I had things that I was interested in, but I'll be honest, from a very young age, how much the field made was a huge proponent.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so there's a part of me that was like, I'm going to make movies because those make millions of dollars.
Yeah.
And it's something I like.
Yeah.
Must be a good thing.
No, that's...
You know what I mean?
That actually changed what I was thinking about Kid You. I was thinking that you sound like kind of an aimless nerd or something, but...
Oh, totally. I'm still an aimless nerd. Well,
no, but I mean
I'm an aimed nerd.
Yeah, but no, like the money thing kind of flipped me there, because that's how I was too. I was like... Honestly, my ideas all sucked. I was just like, oh, this makes money, so that. It's like...
Yeah, like
a really
whenever
bad
we
way
did
to do
career
things.
day in like fourth grade, and they like make you act like a certain profession. They take you. I don't know if they have it here, but there was a place in Arizona called J.A. Biztown. You ever heard of that? No. They have that in Utah. It's wild. I don't even think it's in business anymore, but it's like a field trip you'd take, and then you'd get a job, and they had this like kid-sized cubicles, like office space, and then a weather thing, so you could act like a weatherman, and then there was like. You'd go in, like, they had a cafeteria, and when you went to eat lunch, it was like your classmate that was a chef.
LARP is your job for a day?
A day.
Yeah.
But you were assigned the job, and they would interview each of the kids before you went, and then they'd, like, assign you to what you were.
Yeah.
I was a CPA, and it was super cheeks. Yeah. Like, I didn't like it, but I liked the money.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I was always motivated by, like, I didn't really care what the job was, but I knew that money was something I've always wanted.
Yeah.
Because my parents do okay now. They do really well. I was an only child, so they didn't need to make a ton to like feed the family, because it was just feeding me.
Yeah.
But I mean, I didn't come from like any money.
Yeah.
I mean, I think a good bearing on how your parents were was 2008 rough for you or not?
A big deal or not?
Was that a big deal in your life? Was that like a monumental year for you?
Right.
Or did you just like don't even remember 2008?
Right.
If it was rough, you probably didn't have a lot. Like, not to get too into it, but I mean, in 2008, we lived in my grandma's house. She owned it, and we rented from her.
Yeah.
She lost it.
Yeah.
And then we moved into my aunt's basement with my grandma. She lost that house.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we just got kicked out of homes after homes after homes.
Moved around.
So maybe from a therapeutic standpoint, as a kid, I was like, well, I'm just going to make a bunch, so none of that's a problem.
Yeah.
Part of me was like, if I just make a ton of money, none of the problems that my parents had when I was growing up that caused a ton of stress in the home.
Makes sense.
I won't have at least those stresses if I have money.
Yeah.
Not in like I want a bunch of money hungry way, but
Yeah.
I saw money as security.
Yeah. Don't have to worry about it.
Don't have to worry about it. I like
Right.
that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So from a very young age, I was exposed to the problem of not having money, I guess.
That makes sense. That makes
So
sense.
I respected the dollar like super young.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people don't even know how much a dollar costs until they pay taxes. Like in their 20s. They don't even, because they've never bought anything and they just go to college and then they have to pay for their own stuff. And mommy and daddy did forever. And not that I contributed to the bills when I was 10.
Yeah.
But I saw the stress it put on my parents. And
Get an
so I was like,
appreciation for it.
absolutely. I was like, not that money buys happiness, but it can take away stresses if the stresses are money caused.
Yeah. Well, money does not automatically buy happiness, but lack of money can cause unhappiness sometimes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, where you live, you have a child. Like I was their kid.
Yeah.
Christmas stinks. So
Yeah.
they can't. There's a little bit of a parent, you're like, you want to buy your kid the thing they want for Christmas. Not that you're going to buy everything they want for Christmas, but you're like, yeah, I want them to have a fun Christmas every
Thing or
couple
two,
years.
for
Yeah,
sure.
It'd be nice because then you kind of feel that role as a parent. And I saw the stress my parents had, and I was like, I don't want that. And they did a great job. Like my dad made a ton for even then. We weren't broke, but I think that's probably why I've had a respect for money is because I was just like, I don't want any of these problems.
Right. Yeah, I relate. So you graduate.
Yeah.
What order did the school admission stuff kind of play out in?
So I graduated in 2016,
Okay.
May, right? Just like May, that
Yeah.
end of the school year.
Yeah.
I went on my mission in December,
Oh, okay.
and I didn't go to school.
Yeah.
So I worked from then to then, and then just left.
What'd you do?
I went to Sprouts.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's that grocery store?
Yeah. It's like a super expensive grocery store.
Nice.
I worked in dairy. Like the guy behind the fridge where you take the milk and then like another one appears.
I'm always startled by those people. I'm always like, there's people
That was
back
me.
there.
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I had a hoodie on and I just sat on a milk crate
Yeah.
for 5 hours or 6 hours.
Chilling.
And I would just restock. Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
And you go to Taiwan. I know that.
Yeah. Taiwan.
How'd you like it, dude?
Everything I am now is because of that mission. Everything.
Dude, I have so many friends who went to like South America or even like Europe and Africa to some extent, but you're like my one served in Asia friend. You're like I think of Asian stuff, I think Jake Richards.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it some.
Yeah. No, I mean, Taiwan was awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shaped my whole life. Because when I got over there, it was like as an only child, I didn't have siblings that went on missions.
Yeah.
So I didn't but my dad went to Hong Kong.
Oh, okay.
So I had that influence, and my mom went to Phoenix.
Okay.
Which is like why we moved there.
Yeah. Interesting.
So she went to Phoenix. So I was like, I've never actually had the thought am I going to go on a mission? Mm-hmm. Is this for me?
Yeah.
Never had that.
It was assumed.
I was just like, yeah, I'm 18 now. So I'm just going to go and
Yeah.
it's my time. And Taiwan was awesome. I mean, I met so many cool people. Chinese is a language and a half to learn.
Yeah.
But it's just cool to say that I know that language and lived there. Because, I mean, some people think it's Thailand.
Yeah.
It's one of those countries that's a fringe country you don't even think about.
Totally.
Yeah, I loved Taiwan.
So, obviously this is always relevant to like the sales aspect. Do you think it got you dialed in like a organization goal setting kind of a way?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was like the first time in my life it mattered. Because, I mean, there's debates, but you could debate that if you never wanted to use anything that required a high school diploma, that your grades in high school would not benefit you or hurt you.
Right.
Because if you're like right out of high school, I'm going to go join the workforce.
You need the minimum to graduate.
Minimum to graduate if my plan didn't need the diploma.
Yeah.
So for the same exact reason, I didn't have anything that required me to be organized. I wasn't much of a studier. I was one of those super annoying kids that never studied.
Yeah.
And did fine.
Yeah.
And then when I got out to Taiwan, you can't do that because not in a language that I knew. So I went out to Taiwan. It was the first time that I had to study.
Yeah.
Ever. And it kind of knocked me to my knees. And there's people you want to teach. There's people you care about. And then you're learning this language on top of it. So yeah, it forced me to kind of learn a set goal, do goal, set plans to get goal
Yeah.
loop.
Yep.
And you do that for 2 years, and
Cool.
It was cool.
So you get back. This is 2018, approaching 19.
2 days of 19. I got back January 2nd of 19.
Nice.
Yeah, so I served 4 years on a calendar.
Okay.
I know I always say that. It's super dumb. My mission touched 4 years.
Got you.
So I had 3 days in 16, 2 days in 19.
Yeah.
And then all of 17, all of 18.
Understood.
Yep.
Understood.
It's a funny thing.
And then you immediately go to school, or no?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I got back in January, so I couldn't just get in because I didn't have time to sign up for classes or anything. It's a winter semester.
Right.
So I started August.
The fall.
Yes. So I worked, and that's where I got my job at Home Depot.
Okay.
I worked there until here.
Yeah.
I started working here.
So was that Home Depot Phoenix? Or
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was I started working there because my uncle's the loss prevention
Yeah.
corporate
Okay.
way up at Home Depot. He's like, yeah, you should work there.
Yeah. So you start working at the Home Depot in Phoenix, where your parents live.
Yes.
Right after getting back.
Yes.
And do mostly that. I'm guessing some.
I went to community college for a year
Okay.
because my GPA wasn't enough to get into BYU
Yeah.
from high school.
Yeah.
I had a 3.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad, but it's because I didn't try.
So you crushed community college classes and get in as a
I
transfer student.
had a 5.0. Yeah. So CGCC, community college, I killed it.
Yeah.
Because I had a Chinese brain. I just came off my mission where I was just
Oh, did you get all the Mandarin language credits?
At BYU, yes.
Yeah.
So I took that
too.
one test that was it just gives you a bunch of credits if you pass it.
Yeah, that's fire.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
It's like a free minor, essentially,
Yep.
because it's so many credits. Community college community college doesn't have Chinese classes.
Right.
There's not enough people in Phoenix that want to learn it.
Right.
But I did that, and then because my grades were so good at CGCC, I actually got into BYU. That's why I moved to Provo, and it's where I met Matt in the first place.
Yep. So you're at Provo, still working at Home Depot, going to school.
Yeah.
Talk
BYU,
about
Home Depot, Provo.
talk about the recruiting story and stuff.
Yeah, that was actually wild. So I was dating this other girl at the time, and they had this game night, and hosted by Matt.
Yeah.
That I didn't know was, I hadn't met Matt yet.
Yeah.
And I just went as the +1 to this game night thing. So, but my life at the time, the way that I was living was I'd wake up at 4 a.m. And my Home Depot shift was 5 to noon. So super early.
Grindy.
It was bad. Yeah. It was bad. I get up at 3. I go to bed at midnight. COVID had just hit, and I did not have a good sleep schedule.
Yeah.
I convinced myself that I was if I fall asleep with 5 hours of sleep, it's harder to wake up. But if I just have 4 hours of sleep, I wake up instantly.
Now you needed this job to pay for life.
Yes,
Yeah.
I had to. Yeah, it was the only.
You couldn't have not worked at Home Depot at that point.
Had to. I made $800 a month.
Yeah.
Because I had so many hours of classes that I had to keep those.
Yeah.
And my rent was $600.
And your parents aren't paying for your stuff or anything.
I mean, they would pay for gas.
Yeah.
If I needed gas.
You're in a big old pickle, maybe. Yeah.
But I was running razor thin.
Yeah.
I mean, in college, I was pretty intuitive. I would get free couches on Marketplace and sell them for $100.
Yeah.
And I'd use my friend's truck and I'd split it with him.
Yeah.
Because my roommate had a truck.
Fire.
I was like, if I find a free thing and sell it and use your truck, can I give you $30?
Yeah.
I'll just give you $30 to drive the couch a block.
Yeah.
But if I did 4 of those, he's making $100 just.
That's funny.
In college, that's a lot.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Most I made was $300 on a beanbag.
Couch arbitrage.
Yeah. So I did that. I did a lot of things like that because I didn't like having to ask my parents for help.
Right. Okay.
I didn't want to feel not a burden, but I was I'm out of my parents' house. It was my pride. The last thing I want to do is text my parents.
So you
money.
go to this game night. If I remember right, this ex-girlfriend of yours and Matt's wife worked together.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he just
So
pitches
Andrea
you out.
actually did all the invites and stuff.
Nice.
Matt's wife, yeah.
Yeah.
And then that's where I met Matt. And I had been recruited by so many door-to-door companies before.
Yeah.
Just because I had served a mission.
Yeah.
The zone leader that I hadn't talked to since the middle of my mission was like, hey, dude, what's up? How are you doing? And I was like, all right, what do you sell? He's
Let's go.
Well,
Yeah.
pest. And he gets into it. And it never felt cool to me. I never once felt good about the feeling. I felt like a frat to me,
Okay.
which I didn't want to be a part of a frat.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, dude, come work for us. We'll put your name on a snowboard.
Yeah.
It's like, eh.
We'll put your name on a snowboard.
I mean, that's literally. I mean, I was recruited by Vivint 8 times, dude.
Yeah.
And not to knock Vivint. I mean, they're a huge company. And
Yeah.
a couple of my guys used to work for Vivint, and they're killers.
Yeah.
But man, I mean, the couple guys that tried to recruit me were just like snowboards, hoodies, and
The vibe just didn't resonate.
not for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not that way.
I understand.
I'm more even keel.
Yes.
I'm not into all the bashing Red Bulls and shit.
Yeah. Yeah. So what did resonate about Matt's pitch?
Me and him are like the same person.
Yeah.
Yeah, the fact that I believe Matt.
Yeah.
I believed him. So like he had only started 3 weeks before that combo.
Uh-huh.
So he was not even in performance a month.
Yeah.
And he was already like, yeah, dude, I made 3 Gs on the old pay structure. So I mean like 4 deals or something.
Right.
Yeah, I made 3 Gs last week. I was like, 3 Gs last week? Oof. I mean, 4 digits to me was it.
That's got to be 4 figures. Yeah.
Yeah, if it had 4 digits in the number and you're using the time interval weeks,
Yeah.
dude.
That's crazy.
Yeah, you made $1,000 a week.
I'm in.
I'm in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's what Elon must feel like.
Yeah.
No, I felt made. So I don't know what he did. I mean, I could attribute it to a couple things, but he never talked about how he was doing or how the company was, because at the time performance was like 10 people.
Mm-hmm.
Like we have more offices now than I think people then. You know what I mean? So it was super small, and I kind of like that.
I think just a little point I want to make. I think so. He was relatable to you.
Very relatable.
I think the recruiter being relatable is important because if they're, imagine you're a recruit, you don't know how to do door to door. Okay. Your doubt that they have to solve for is, can I do this? So if you're unrelatable, then maybe the recruit says, this is a type that I'm not.
I'm not that type. So
Yeah.
he may be able to do it.
Yeah.
There's no way I can.
Yeah. But then
That's
you talk to a guy, you feel like he's like you. It's like, I feel similar to him and he's successful.
If he could do it, I guess I could too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was following, it's not the first thing he talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Like we had a full game night with dinner, games, we were laughing,
Right.
not about work.
Yeah.
The whole time. So he took the time, and then I'm sure once he assessed, there was like a counter assessment that he was like, I actually want to recruit this guy.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure if I was a deadbeat,
Yeah.
I came in and he could have kind of assessed that he didn't want to recruit, he wouldn't have.
Right.
But after combo, I liked Matt, and he also assessed that he would want me as a recruit,
Yeah.
that it would be fruitful.
Yeah.
He pitched it, and then I liked it.
Sweet.
And because he built that relationship prior, he didn't just jump down my throat.
Yeah.
Hey, trying to sell me doTERRA or something. Like
Right.
It was instant.
Canned Facebook message repost thing.
Yeah, where you can tell it's copy paste, but then they changed the name
Right.
or something. Matt was not that way. So he was superhuman, and I believed him. And then I met you at Mo Betta's.
Yes, I remember that.
PG Mo Betta's.
Yeah.
And then I told Matt, I was super hell bent on getting a $2,000 bonus
Yeah, from
or
Home
tuition
Depot.
reimbursement.
Yeah, because you
Like I just said, 4 digits changed
had
my
some
life.
freaking
changed my life.
you had some freaking seniority and whatever. Not seniority, but like some tenure at Home Depot.
Oh,
I guess
it was literally just if you worked at Home Depot, you get yearly tuition reimbursement.
yearly. Gotcha.
Yearly, yeah.
Yeah.
If you work there,
Yeah.
you get this.
Okay.
And you're a student.
Okay.
So it's like some student benefits.
Yeah.
And it was, luckily I went to BYU where the tuition is peanuts,
Yeah.
but the tuition reimbursement was like $2,400.
So
So I mean, college right now is like 20 G's a semester.
yeah.
So I don't even know how that works for other people. It helped me a lot because 2,400 was, to me, since money is time, it's
Yeah.
a unit of time,
Yeah.
3 months.
Yeah.
That tuition reimbursement for me was 3 months of life.
Right.
So I was like, if I get this tuition reimbursement, then I can give 3 months to this performance company risk free.
Yeah. So that threw a little wrench in the onboarding because you were trying to lock that in before you jumped.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why I wanted to wait.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then I got it and made more money than the tuition reimbursement in 2 weeks.
Go figure.
I would have made more at that same rate if I had just jumped in immediately.
Yeah, it's one of those things.
Hindsight's
that's-
20/20,
Yeah,
but-
you see in hindsight, but good luck convincing a kid that. I mean, I'm gonna still try every time, but
Well,
it's
I
tough.
wanted to give it my all. I didn't want to go in because I knew that if I felt like it was risky or I was stressed about my bills or something, that I couldn't give it.
Well, that's the thing, right? You know, maybe the carefree attitude was required for you to ball out like that.
Yes.
You know,
Because as soon as I had like like I said, 4 digits, I had like 20, because my rent's only 600. My car payment was like $150. And I had a small car at the time, so my gas was minimal.
yeah,
I was like, if I can just get this 2,500 that they think I'm going to use on tuition and just quit. I literally quit the day after I got that tuition reimbursement. And no 2 weeks. My manager was I hated my manager. So I was like, peace.
go figure.
I'm out of here. And I used that money. I didn't even need that money because I did well so fast here.
Yeah, so talk about that. So you started the job and just kind of start balling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. First week I had one sale,
Okay.
which was $800. It was a whole month's worth of work at Home Depot.
That's right.
Because I remember, poor people see money as time. So that's why if a dad who works, maybe doesn't make a ton of money, where you kind of a conventional family, where you have a dad who does salary, W-2, mom's at home, they have to budget real hard to make sure all the kids are fed, and it's more of a traditional family in that sense.
Yep.
Kid at home knocks the TV over. Dad gets mad
Yeah.
because the dad didn't see the TV. What does he see? He sees 4 months of
Saving.
he sees 4 months of saving, and his kid just knocked it over in a couple seconds.
Yep.
And then the anger is way over the top. And then because he's not angry with the TV, he's angry with the 4 months.
Yep.
So the inverse for me was true of performance.
Yeah.
I got paid $800 in like a week.
Yep.
Which at the time, I know it doesn't sound like a lot now because things have changed so much. But
Yeah.
at the time, that was life-changing.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, that was a month.
Yep.
It wasn't $800, it was a month.
A month.
Isn't that interesting?
Yep.
I saw it in a month. I was like, oh, I got a month.
And it was your first week. You weren't even good yet.
No.
Like next week I could
barely learned the script. I didn't even
2 or
have to talk
3
to people.
months. So
Well,
to
that's
speak.
instantly, as soon as I had that, my brain was like, wait, so you're telling me if I just do that 4 times in a week, I get 4 months?
Yeah. Mind blown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's how poor people think. And I was broke at the time. I was like, oh, that's like 60 Chick-fil-A meals.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, that's
How many gumballs is it?
Yeah, wait, holy cow, I just bought blah, blah, blah. And like, I earned X number of things. Because like when you're poor, you don't view things in dollars, you view things in like meals.
Right.
So when you have like $80, you're like, all right, I got 3 meals.
Yeah.
So your bank account's not $80, it's 3 meals.
Right.
So I got $800 and I was like, wow. And yeah, my brain just went off the deep end. I'm like, oh, if I made 10 sales in a week, that's 10 months. And in a good way, I got super excited. And then my fault, I went off script. I didn't like totally do the system. I thought that first sale, I was like, oh, I'm God's gift to Windows.
Right.
I'm the best person to have ever touched a window.
0 to 100.
And then I went unpaid for 3 weeks.
Okay.
Which was my bad. I set 7 appointments, 8 appointments, and 9 appointments my second week on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It's like 28 sets. 2 ran.
I think I remember this.
2 ran.
Yeah.
It was in Springville. It's
Yeah.
rough. And it was like half CADs, bad appointments.
Who straightened you out? Was it me?
Yeah.
I think I remember.
I mean, it was just like, dude, you're not even close to on script.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I'm good. I got the. And it took me 3 weeks to actually be like, all right, I got paid the first week because all I knew was the script.
Yeah. Right.
And then it took me 3 weeks to kind of get hit with a brick. And I was like,
That's why.
And then my 4th week of my first month, I got 4.
Yeah.
So I ended my first month at 5.
Floodgates.
Yeah, 5. And then my second month, 12. Third month, 14.
There you go.
Yeah.
And then you start closing.
And then I was closing.
Yeah. So, yeah, talk about because that's pretty parabolic. You know, second, third month are both huge, and then you start closing, and I know how the income goes during that. Talk about like your change in mindset with like career and, yeah, you know, like you go from like being a kid who works at Home Depot. What were you studying? Engineering or something?
Computer engineering with a Chinese minor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sounded impressive.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, you're
smart.
You're working at Home Depot. You're looking ahead towards this future of writing code or something. And then all of a sudden you're making all this money doing sales.
Yeah. Existential crisis.
Okay.
Like fundamentally, it was an existential crisis.
Yeah, yeah,
Because you had my whole life, and my parents did great.
yeah.
But my parents grew up in a different age than I grew up in.
Okay.
Like door-to-door didn't even exist
Yeah.
in the way it does now, even 30 years ago.
Uh-huh.
So, I mean, my parents grew up in the 80s. And so back then, I fundamentally believed that it was good to do the best you can in school, get the best degree you can, so that the biggest company can pay you the most they can.
That's the funny thing, right? Like, kind of up and coming people our age, salesmen, entrepreneurs, whatever, we kind of like poo-poo that advice, but it hasn't always been wrong. The market just changed.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, it fundamentally was good. So they're not, you can't knock them for giving you the advice that worked in their era.
Yeah.
You just have to knock them for not seeing
That it changed.
or new opportunities. Yeah, they're just being closed-minded. They're like, oh, if the opportunity to work for me will only be what works for people.
Yeah.
And it's like, not necessarily.
Yep.
New opportunities come up all the time.
Uh-huh.
And so I had to, this was like me personally, this job and like getting good at it. It was like me cutting the umbilical cord with life.
Uh-huh.
I cut it.
Yeah.
It was the first time I had ever been like,
Kind of a free thinking.
I'm not going to college anymore,
Yeah.
to my parents.
Uh-huh.
The first time ever. I had like spoken against
What you've been taught.
kind of what they thought was best for me. And you can't knock them from telling me what they thought was best for me.
Yeah.
Because then they're just doing what they think is being a good parent.
Yep.
So I don't knock them for it ever. It's not their fault. Like I said, it's just what worked for them.
Yep.
And then I said, you know what? No, I'm going to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Like Miles Morales, Spider-Man. She's like, I'm going to do my own thing. And I just turned around and I dropped out of school like 2 months after closing.
Nice.
Because, I mean, I'm just, like I said earlier, I was money motivated. Like from a childhood, it wasn't to be a computer engineer.
Yeah.
It just had a decent upside for what the degree required.
Uh-huh.
So I was fully looking at it on an ROI perspective.
Yeah. You probably Googled what career pays the most.
Yeah. No, like legitimately, I was being wow factoring in slightly of what I enjoyed doing.
Yeah.
Slightly. Because I built computers before. like I know how to do that. So I was like, I mean, sure. I learned Chinese, I can learn code.
Yeah.
Like that's fundamentally where my logic went. I was like, it's just a
Nice.
different language.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'll just learn a language again.
Okay.
And it pays decent.
Yeah.
And then my first Saturday closing was actually my biggest Saturday ever for like several years. I don't know if you remember, but I closed 5 sales for Michael.
Where was this? Oh, I do remember that.
It was the only 5 sales he got.
What town were you in?
Utah County.
Yeah.
It was in north of Salem.
Spanish Fork?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was in Spanish.
Nice.
I had 5
Yeah,
in the
that's
same
fire.
day, and it was like 130 G's in revenue.
Yeah.
So with bonuses, I got paid 14 grand in a Saturday.
Yeah.
So I mean, think of my earlier counting clock.
Yeah.
Before I was like, oh, look at how many months I just bought.
Yeah, yeah.
I earned, I mean, yeah, at that point.
Over a year.
Yeah, exactly. I
and a half.
shattered.
Yeah.
That's where I was like truly existential.
Yeah.
And I was like, where was this?
Yeah.
What? And then you're asking the questions, what computer engineering degree pays 14 G's in a day?
Yeah. Doesn't.
Doesn't exist.
Right.
And then any venture I had going on at the time, even just selling couches, something as simple as that, which was like literally putting food on the table for me. I was like, oh, I don't need to do that anymore.
Yeah.
So that's where it was like completely flipped my life upside down.
Mm-hmm.
And then I bought in and I was like, oh, I think I'm one of the few people in the company that took it the most seriously.
Yeah.
Because of that like curse of like, oh, you're telling me if I just do this, I make this?
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go do it. And so I love I'm gonna do what no one else has done type stuff.
Yeah.
That's what motivated me.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, so no one's ever done it before, but if you sold 400K, you'd make 40. Got it.
Yeah. Here's the formula. I'm just gonna push it till it breaks. You know.
Yes. And some people are like, I'm gonna do it till it's enough.
Right.
But then enough is arbitrary.
Yeah.
So like, what is enough for you? Is enough just bills are paid?
Yeah. You know, a wise man once said.
Is this you probably?
No, I won't say who. He says, if you teach somebody to make $1,000 an hour,
Yes.
2 types of people.
Yeah.
One will say, great, I can make $80,000 this week.
Yes.
The other will say, I only have to work 2 hours this week.
Yes. Yeah, if there was a slot machine that you did this and it made you $1,000,
Yeah.
there are people in this world who would go to it, pump twice, and leave
Yeah.
until that money was
I'm
gone.
I'm making them throw me out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm holding it down. I'm milking that.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
So let's jump forward a little bit. So you ball out as a closer in Utah for a couple months, and then there's an opportunity to go down to Phoenix, kind of as we don't even have this position anymore, but essentially as the number 2, working with one of our guys who was one of our senior leaders at that point. And it's the first office that we had opened outside of Utah, which is our home base. So y'all go down to Phoenix, smaller crew, starting over, trying to scale up.
Yeah, I mean, a couple guys that barely knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
One guy had never done it before, and then me and my market owner.
Yep.
That was it.
Yep. Nice. We'll talk about just how you start, I guess.
Dude, those were the days. Yeah, I mean, it was the first time that, because when I was in Utah, I could kind of get obsessed with myself.
Yeah.
Because there was like the foundation of like the PG office at the time.
There was a lot of senior leaders, and we all viewed you as like
revenue
a
in
young
the
buck
month there as fifth ups.
Yeah.
But I was still fifth. I mean, there was a lot of closers there that kind of were also running appointments for my recruits, and down there, I was it. So like the backbone of the office was legitimately me.
Yeah.
Because I went from PG that had a 4th, 5th, 6th, Matt was 3rd.
Yeah.
And he was high ups, in my opinion. And so it was a pretty stacked core in that OG PG office.
Yep.
And then I go down to Phoenix, and then the schedule board goes Monday, Jake, Tuesday, Jake, Wednesday, Jake, Thursday, Jake. So it's the first time that I felt the full force of an office.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's probably the shift that I noticed when I first got there. I was like, oh, I'm not fifth. I'm like it.
I'm the guy.
And there's only 2 knockers now. So I also have all those boards and they're empty.
Yeah.
So I had to go knock too. Way more than I did.
Had to go knock, had to go train those knockers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember Kyle Deaver called me and he was like, yeah, so
go get a self
Don't say out.
Yeah.
He was like, technically we only ask for 5 hours, but
it's also just till there's been money made. Yeah.
Yeah. And I truthfully I did. I didn't go home. I milked everything.
Yeah, I know you were dialed. A lot of the recruits we got down there were your people.
Instantly.
Yeah. Talk about, I guess like telling the story and bringing everybody in.
So, I mean, there's like 2 answers. So you can have a good offer, like for a pitch, hey, come do the job. Like you can have a good pitch for the job in itself.
Yeah.
But if the way that people see you before you're giving the pitch is kind of like a deadbeat.
Yeah.
You could have a good pitch and they'll be like, oh, whatever Jake's a part of, I don't necessarily want to be a part of.
Dude, that's one of those tough truths.
Sense?
No, I've said that to people too, and it's one of those tough truths because it's not actionable. Like basically what you're saying is go back and have a different life history where people view as credible.
You can't retroactively be a better person than you were.
Yeah, you can't fix that one. But yeah, to some extent, there is just like, I've known this guy a decade. I consider him trustworthy. If he's saying come do a job, I'll do it.
Yes.
Or alternatively,
it's essentially
not all
personal brand.
Yeah.
Like when a certain, like Apple, they pump out a new product, people don't even ask.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
It's Apple.
Like whatever Apple's, yeah, sure. They just buy.
Stamp it, yeah.
People do it for you too.
Yeah.
Like if you don't have a good personal brand and you're like not a good, I mean, maybe in high school you were wishy-washy.
Yeah.
Kind of a partier. Everything that you tended to be a part of was either sketchy or didn't perform that well in nature.
Or you're just dumb or flaky.
Or you're a dumb person or you're flaky.
Yeah.
Or you, I don't know, can't keep a commitment.
Yeah.
Or simple stuff like that. People remember that.
Right.
And yeah, you're like the one time, it's like my zone leader that never talked to me ever.
Yeah.
Comes to me to bring up this, maybe would have been a good job.
Yeah.
I can't even knock him. Maybe what he had was legitimately a good thing going on.
Yeah.
But I didn't care because of who he was.
Right.
And then, so I think I was a good recruiter because I had a lot of good relationships with a lot of good people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, recruiting's easier when you're a good person.
Simple enough.
It's simpler because people can go to you like, oh, Jake's got something going on. Usually what he tends to have going on is pretty good.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go be a part of it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's the first, unless you have that, don't even try to recruit and just work on that.
Yep.
Don't even do the recruit part unless you have the first part down.
Right.
And then the second part is the pitch, like
Yeah.
how you recruit the job.
Yeah. 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 People always ask me like what my pitch is, and I'm like, I'm doing this cool thing. You should come do it.
And they're like, well, I'm doing that. It doesn't work. It's like, well.
or like, I mean, if you like expound, and this is probably like another part of it for you, it's like, I'm pretty good at this. I think I can teach you to also be good.
Mm-hmm.
That's another part of the pitch.
Trust.
Yeah.
Well, they have to trust that you could teach them how to do it.
Yeah.
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 So that's definitely part of it. I think that hurts some people, though. I do think that hurts some people. I think some people think they shouldn't recruit until they have success.
Yeah.
I think that's bad.
Yes. Well,
I had 6 recruits before I had more recruits than thousands in my first month. So I had 5 sales, but I had 6 recruits.
I remember that. Yeah.
I made more recruiting my second month than I did in commission. Because of the bonus.
Yeah.
I made more in recruiting bonuses than commission.
It's big.
I think I made like 9
in
commission, but I made 12 because all 6 of my recruits hit a 5th sale bonus in the same month.
Yeah, I remember them all. Freaking Bryce, Thomas, Michael, Aaron, Joe.
Yep, it was those. And then I can't remember now.
Tall kid. Jeff.
Oh, yeah. Holy cow. Yeah, that was wild. Yeah, it was Jeff.
Yeah.
Holy cow. Yeah, that's 6.
Had them all. Yep.
Had them all. The same month.
Yep.
Before I had qualified, before I had them in my slump of not getting sales.
Right.
I recruited them when I was sucking.
Yep.
So yeah, I think it's good to have a good pitch, and obviously my success helped recruit those people. Mm-hmm. But if you're like listening to this and you're like, oh, that must mean I need to get really, really good, like Jake did, before I can start recruiting.
It will just enhance it. That's it.
Yeah, you do not need to even make $1 to get a recruit.
Yeah, you just.
Do you believe in what you're doing, or don't you?
Yeah.
You don't need to have money to do that.
Yeah, your belief
I
shows
recruited
through.
with Matt's numbers.
Yeah.
He had numbers. He had been here longer. Mm-hmm. So I just used his.
Yep.
So, and then they're asking me like, well, are you making that? I was like, no, I just started. I'm excited. And my excitement is contagious. Mm-hmm. And that is ultimately what got him.
So let's jump forward a little. Cause dude, you put in a lot of like grindy months, couple grindy years in Phoenix.
Years.
Yeah.
About 3.
The at least in our little company history, we're growing fast. So like a lot of the time people like make manager fast, but the way it worked out down there, we and probably you were better served sitting on that one, and you were just like the best closer in the company for 3 years or 2?
3.
3. Yeah.
3. Actively 3.
3 years of being straight closer. But something I see with a lot of them is a lot of people they on board, have a month getting their feet under them. They'll have like their best closing month ever, their second month, and then they're never that good again.
Yeah.
Because they're not that excited ever again.
Yeah, the excitement caused the revenue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, my question is like, how did you maintain such a high level of excitement for freaking 36 months of this?
I didn't.
Okay.
No, yeah. Excitement's not if you think motivation or excitement's the thing that will cause your revenue and fix all your problems, you're effed.
There's a nugget.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Yeah, people are like, how do you stay motivated?
Didn't.
No, I was in the worst place of my whole life.
Did it
darkest
unmotivated?
Place I've ever been.
Yeah.
The most money I had ever made as a closer were typically the darkest parts of my life.
Yeah.
Where I was emotionally the worst.
Okay.
And like low key, the job was my therapy.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how it was for me. So
So you doubled down.
Yes. Well, it allowed me to not do terrible things.
Right.
I was like, if I get good at this, then I can not think about how bad my life is outside of it.
Right.
Yeah. Now that I'm looking back on it, that's exactly how it was.
Yeah.
It was, I'm going to get so good at this that it's at least all I can focus on. Because I don't want to look at anything else. Because I had just gone through a really bad breakup at the time, and there was a bunch of things extraneous that like were distracting.
Is it pure distraction though, or is it also at least I can take a W here?
Probably a little bit of that too.
Because I get some of that. I get that with work. Sometimes I'll even get that with the gym. Like sometimes I've been in a real dark place and I'm like, bro, at least I'm going to get swole.
Yeah.
Which might,
You just need a couple wins.
yeah, I mean,
even if they're small.
we can laugh about that, but yeah, you feel a W there, and then it kind of starts to transmute into the rest of your life.
Yeah, the reason I was so consistent is because I was never closing for money.
Right.
Ever.
Closing for honor,
Greatness.
pride.
Greatness.
Love it.
Like greatness is probably the word.
The brand.
Personal brand. Yeah. Yeah. So I was like, I just want to be the best that's ever done this thing. And I know exactly where that stems from.
Yeah.
Like from me.
Okay.
Call it good or not. I've seen some videos where like, you should never talk to your kid this way. But my parents were super loving. Super loving. I was their rock star.
Okay.
And true or not, I'm not even saying this is true, but my mom always jokes, she's like, we only had one because I only needed one. I kicked out a good one the first try. And it's a joke. But that talk, I believed.
You believed it.
So I feel like if I wasn't literally the best by a multiple of 2, that I was undercutting what my parents had told me I'd been my whole life.
Dude.
So in sports, they were like, you're the best, you're this, you're the best, and motivating, and oh, you're the best hitter, you have the best arm. And on paper, legitimately, sometimes it was true.
Did you want to know something?
And there's a lot of times it wasn't true.
Dude, I have the same thing, and I've actually like thought deeply about this, like how do I recreate this in my kids, because I think it served me so well. But what happened for me is I was one of those kids who, you know, I've always done well in school and stuff, but I especially did well in like kindergarten and first grade. Like I was that kid who could just like read everything and whatever.
Yeah.
So I always had adults fawning over me for being so smart.
Yes.
And
absolutely,
you like internalize this superiority, just like God complex. Like I win at everything.
Yeah,
I'm the best.
So you have this urge or like need to fulfill that in every facet of your adult life.
Yeah. If I can't just be good. If I don't literally win, I've fallen short of my expectation for myself.
And what my parents told me I was going to be, and what my friends told me I was going to be,
and
what all my teachers told me.
I'm sure a therapist listening to this would say, like, this is toxic of you both, but it turned out in a couple ways.
Well, the fact I'm able to acknowledge it and still use it as fuel, I'd say is completely healthy.
Yeah.
I acknowledge that it's a problem.
Yeah.
Or is it just what it is? Is it not a problem or a solution? It just is. I can acknowledge that I think the reason some people would call it toxic is because they perceive stress, high standards, high expectations as toxic.
Yeah, right.
I don't.
Right.
Well, don't do that. It'd make the kid uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, great.
Yeah.
They're calling it toxic because it makes a kid cry. I don't care.
You're pro expectations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh, wow, you shouldn't feel that way, Jake. That's really high pressure on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I want to feel that way.
Mm-hmm.
I just talked about that.
Yeah.
I just talked about how you get to a certain level of stress that like laymen, for lack of a better term, hate.
Yeah.
That people don't like stress. People in this day and age have a terrible a relationship with stress that is super negative.
That's why
if stress exists, then bad things are happening.
Something is wrong when we should solve for the stress.
And not necessarily.
Yeah, it's why like the diagnosing of anxiety has gone up so much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, you're stressed? Bad thing.
I'm stressed. Let me go talk to somebody. Hey, person, I'm stressed. Bad.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, a lot of therapists would call the way that in verbiage that my parents used through my sports career of like, you're the best, you're the greatest. Yeah, I mean, and I was like, I didn't like it if I didn't have the fastest 40.
Yeah.
Everything. Every little thing. I wasn't even part of the game. It was just the effing 40 we did once a year.
Yeah.
I was like into it. I was so intense. It's 4.6, by the way. It's kind of nice.
By the way, I did win.
By the way, I was pretty fast. There was only 3 kids from Africa that beat me. They're super fast. But that a lot of people would call the way that my parents talk to me. I've seen videos about it that they're like, you tell your kid, oh, you're the best. You can do great. Oh, that later on your kid's going to have this crippling complex to like need to be the best. They'll want to fulfill that all the time.
You want to know something too? That's not the first time I've heard that on here. John, who's the CEO of The Grit, he said the same thing. He was like, dude, my mom just always believed in me so much.
Yes.
Like I was a rock star and
Cheerleaders.
just expected me to win
Everything.
Yeah.
But then outside people who are on the outside be like, wow, that was that probably made you feel bad. And then I look at it, I'm like, no, that's like the thing that fuels me to this day.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you chalk it up as bad. I don't.
Right.
So, I mean, it was my parents, not yours.
So,
So yeah, I just don't agree.
yeah. So a lot of fortitude, lot of grit, and pushing through a lot of months is a big dog. Like I said, you've probably done the most revenue all time in the industry. Can't verify that just off the top of my head, but I think so.
For sure in a 3-year time span.
Yeah. Right.
Anyone who's done more did twice as many years as me, maybe.
Yeah. And so let's talk about your most recent role. So that was all closer times. You step up and become,
Yes.
We call it market owner. You're the manager of our Phoenix office. Mm-hmm. How's it been?
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I can push more levers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because when you're a knocker, you can only do addition, which is I get paid when I get a sale.
Yeah.
Closer's like kind of the same. You just have more sales because you're running appointments for other people.
Yeah.
So pay goes up because you're responsible for more.
Yep.
And then as a market owner, it's just the dream because I can teach people to do the knocker thing that I learned, the closer thing that I learned to more people, which pushes more revenue.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I like business. I think I'm not getting this from just me, by the way. I'm not trying to copy somebody. I think Alex Ramosi talks about this concept, but he's like, I like business because revenue is a quick feedback loop on how well I'm doing.
Yeah.
Like if it dips, you're just like, problem.
Yeah.
And it's like it's a response and it's a pride thing of like, the more revenue I'm making, the better I'm doing.
Yeah. You don't have to wonder.
Yes. As a closer, that's kind of the case. That's the case. Market owner, it's the easiest to see.
Yeah.
That's what I like is that if I, as a knocker, because I don't have that much leverage, if a good knocker turns into a great knocker, I mean, how much revenue would you say they generate more? Good to great. Just a knocker. I mean, 100,000.
Yeah. Another 100.
Average knocker does 100. Great knocker does 200.
Yeah.
But then closer, good closer does 200. Great closer does 400.
Right.
So you've net more leverage out of one person just by doubling their output.
Yeah.
Market owner, I had beaten my previous market owner's all-time record in 4 months. Our 4th month, we did more than it's ever been done ever.
Yep.
It was hype. And now that record is like 60% of what our new record is.
Yep.
Which is cool.
Yep.
Not that he didn't do a good job, but it's cool to see the growth
Yep.
in that perspective. Where I had taken my closership, I had an average of 400.
Yeah.
I usually had 400 months. If I had less than 400, it was
Pissed.
I was rough. Yeah, it was not good. Yeah, I was like telling my wife, "Don't talk to me."
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I had a great month of 700. So for me, you milked me from 400 to 7, so you got 300 more out of me. And from a good closer, comparing me to a good closer,
Yeah.
there's a difference of 500,000,
Yep.
2 to 7,
Yep.
which is huge. Market owner, I brought our average up 800,000.
So you can have a larger impact on the outcome.
And it's more of a reflection on who I am.
Yeah.
Yeah,
More
exactly.
of a basic point. So what are some things you've learned?
In what regard?
I don't know. New skills, new lessons.
I think what I've had to learn is how to push levers.
Yeah.
So market owner, or like any managerial role,
Yeah.
and you probably feel this to a bigger degree, is you're in a metal steel box
Yeah.
and there's like 100 buttons in front of you, like a music studio.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's all those buttons that you have no idea what they do.
Right.
Imagine all of them are just on, off. And your job is to push all of them on.
Yeah.
And then randomly 20 of the 100 they turn off, and then you have to like turn
Push
them all
again.
Yeah, yeah. And then as you're doing it, more flick off.
Yeah.
So constantly it's this idea of having the most levers on at the most longest amount of time you can.
Yep.
So there's no slumps. You can't slump. So
Yeah.
you have to have all these on. But the twist that I didn't say at the beginning of that metaphor was that you're blindfolded. You're blindfolded.
Yeah.
So this is what market owner feels like.
You have to do it from memory.
Or feel.
Yeah.
So you're like, oh, that switch is facing me. No. And you flick it the other way. And I've had to learn how to do that. And the better you get, the faster you can
Becomes
find the
a little
switch.
more intuitive.
Yes.
There's probably some early times where you're doing it clumsy, or perhaps you're going back to the same one over and over, like it's a magic solve.
It's a hot button.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or we're just directing you through every step of it, or whatever it may be. Yeah.
Yeah, as a closer, if your closing percentage goes down, I mean,
It's like two
a lot
variables.
of, I mean, some salesmen may get butthurt when I say this, but sales isn't that hard.
Yeah.
And there's like, it's very technical. Sales is very technical. I think I've milked every percent I can get out of my closing pitch.
Uh-huh.
But of things that would like knock you into a slump, there's like a handful of things it could be.
Yeah.
Market owner, like the higher up your position gets and the bigger team you have, the less that's true.
Yeah.
The more things could actually fundamentally be a problem.
Yeah. More
There's
complicated.
a lot of small problems when you're a salesman.
Right.
Way more actual meaty on the bone problems when you're a manager.
Multi-factor.
Yeah, that you can't ignore. There's like some
Complicated
things as a
order of
knocker, you're like,
operations.
I can ignore that.
Yeah.
Because I'll just go from like 5 to 4 sets and it's still fine.
Yeah. I'll put in more doors.
I'll just do more doors and it's not a big deal.
Yeah. I'll compensate with something else.
Yeah, market owner, you can't just be like, oh, I'll work more.
Yeah.
But if you're doing that, it doesn't, hours don't matter. The number of hours I put in as market owner has no bearing on revenue in the month.
It has to be correct.
Yeah, it has to be the right hours.
Precise.
Good, better,
targeted.
best. Good, better, best. It's like,
Yeah.
could I just flick the same lever and make sure there's 100 in front of me, like I said, and this one just tends to be a hot one? If I just sat there and I only made sure that one was forward,
You're dead.
one,
Yeah.
well, I just only worked on that one. There's like 20 other ones unaddressed. Yeah, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't get to pick,
So
which is unfortunate.
as we kind of wrap up, any parting advice you want to give to, it could really be any demographic or multiple demographic, new rep, new manager, person who wants to build a long-term career.
Yeah.
What would you say?
In door to door?
Yeah.
Learn things once. That's probably the thing that catapulted me to get good faster.
Yeah.
Maybe not, that wouldn't help you get to a certain peak.
Yeah.
Because once you start getting to the summit and you're like trying to be the difference of like 95%
To 100.
to 98.
Yeah.
I mean, those kind of things that's pretty high level stuff.
Those are incremental.
But if you're new and you're like, you feel like you're at the bottom of the mountain,
Yeah.
the best way to do that is just to get to 80% as fast as you can.
Yeah.
Don't worry about 100. Don't try to be perfect. Don't try to sit there and like get your perfect pitch, and then I'll start. Because I've done it for 4 years, and I don't think I still do. I mean, there's things I learn all the time about sales stuff that I could tweak.
Yeah.
But get to a point where you can just tweak stuff. That's my advice. Get to a tweak zone.
Yeah.
Because there's a zone where you like need fixes.
Yeah.
That's not good. Don't get in a zone where you need fundamental, you're talking way too fast. Super basic stuff.
Yeah.
Everything above 80%, don't worry about it.
It's
Don't
diminishing returns.
Don't even worry about that.
Yeah.
Get to the 80 and never go below.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
That's like your baseline.
It's blocking and tackling.
That way, all the 80% can just be brainless.
Yeah.
And then all your energy can go towards closing the gap on greatness.
Right.
100% is greatness.
Right.
So the better you do, you're like, oh, I'm going to do 700. It's never been done before.
Yeah.
I didn't do that by having a good pitch and talking slow.
Right.
But someone who's brand new would do really well with just talking slow.
Yeah.
When you're starting to get good, it doesn't help you at all.
Makes sense.
The things that move the needle, the better you get, are more and more nuanced.
Right. Right. Yeah, it's like when you take out a new kid and you're trying to show him like how slow you talk. And then after 30 minutes, you're like, so what'd you learn? And he pulls out the most niche one-liner that you used one time. You're like, no, not that.
Yeah.
You were supposed to learn to talk slow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Of everything he got, all he took was what you said.
Yeah.
Which is ultimately the most fundamental, basic.
Yeah.
That's remedial sales.
Yeah.
Copying someone's words.
Yeah.
Remedial.
Yeah, and it's like a one-liner that you don't even want him to use all the time.
That is so heavily dependent on delivery too.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. It's super dependent on like your cadence. It's like a comedian.
Yeah.
You know, comedians memorize their bits to the second.
Yeah.
They'll memorize it. I go up here. I go down here. I pause for this long. Like they got it down to a science.
Intonations.
Yeah. Everything.
When to like deadpan it.
Yes.
When to smile. When to let them clap
When
for
am I
you.
allowed to laugh with them?
Yeah.
Or just stare at the laughing?
Right.
That kind of stuff.
Right.
A new knocker doesn't know any of those like nuances that we understand, but they just see that I said a one-liner and they say the technical words,
Yeah.
it sounds terrible.
Yep. Yep.
Oh, I did what Jake did. Didn't work.
They yell at me when I said it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, well, yeah, you sounded rude. Yeah, you didn't say it like a joke.
So if our listeners want to catch up with you, contact you, follow you, whatever, where can they find you?
At Jake.T.Richards
On
on Instagram.
Sweet. All right, man. Thanks for coming.
Of course. Thanks, dude.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of D2D Success Stories. Tune in next week for another one. We'll be dropping every Tuesday.